What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to today's News Tonight, episode 72. We have a lot to talk about today. Some real fun stories. The Last of Us 2 is already getting a remake. Somebody rebuilt Nintendo's 1900s headquarters.
Oh, man.
A bunch of fun stuff. As you can see, I'm joined, as always, by my co-founders in Good Vibes Gaming, Derek Bittner and Ash Paulson. And we are joined by a very special guest today coming all the way from the UK. It is midnight for you, man. Clemps, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. How are you? I mean, besides
thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Honestly, it's a pleasure. I'm doing okay. I am not as tired as I thought I'd be, so I think that's nice. That's a thumbs up. I just got done streaming some Final Fantasy X, just beat Nemesis.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I just beat Xenoga and Monster Hunter Rise, and that was really fun. And here I am. I've got some tonic water. I'm ready to go.
Tonic water? It's Friday night, man. Well, Saturday morning for you. Tonic water.
I'm trying to cut down, and this is the perfect.
Understood.
A stopgap.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into things, of course, we have to call out our sponsor for this episode. That is Straight Lace and the Soul Device. As always on Fridays, thank you so much. I love having this as our little tradition. Maybe someday someone else will read your copy, but for now it's me, and I hope you're okay with that. First off, the Soul Device is actually free to play as of today. So we mentioned last Friday that it would be going free. It is now free on Steam, so please, no excuses. Go add that to your library now. The Soul Device is a puzzle platformer built on the concept of making your own platform to solve puzzles and explore the environment, consuming the player's HP in the process. There are many rooms to explore and several abilities for the player to unlock. And as of today, the Soul Device is now free on Steam for anyone to pick up. If you decide to play it, the developer Straight-Lace would love to hear any honest feedback you have, as a sequel is currently in development. Straight-Lace wants to improve upon anything the first game may falter in. Straight-Lace also wants to thank those who supported the game up to now, as your support has helped it reach this point. So thank you to everyone in the GV gang that has already picked up and checked out this game. I've spent some time with it, a lot less than I wish I could have, but I'm a busy guy. I seem to never have time to play the games I want. Like, I've played 2 matches of Pac-Man 99. I'm terrible at it. But
this is what I'm the best at, actually. Is like I didn't play Mario 35, but I am way better at this than I was at Tetris.
Yeah, I gotta
say,
I'm
okay at it.
Going from Mario 35 to Pac-Man 99 has wounded my ego considerably.
Right,
like,
same.
I used to go into a match and I'd be like, yeah, it's no big deal. I'm going to out-jump all these fools. And now I'm playing Pac-Man. I'm like, yeah, I'm back to being terrible.
I've gotten a few
Tetris
second
terrible.
and third place. Yeah, and I'm not Tetris terrible. I've gotten a few second and third place finishes, but I still have not become the Pac-1 yet. I'm still going for that goal.
Nice, same. It is really fun, though. It's really fun, even if I'm constantly facing down defeat.
Right.
Before we continue, just again, thanks to Straight Lace for sponsoring this episode. We did have one story that we wanted to talk a little bit about, because if you were there for our No More Heroes stream at the Ungodly Hour 5, at some point Derek and Ash just checked out and started talking about this story for about 15 solid minutes, and that is that Streets of Rage 4 is getting DLC finally. That Mr. X's Nightmare listing that we talked about here on the show previously is a real thing, which, to the surprise of nobody, and it is coming later this year. So I'm going to throw it over to you guys. I like Streets of Rage 4, but probably not DLC hype like it. Like I'm happy, but I'm not over the moon about this.
I want to play this with you, Derek. I am over the moon. T. Lopes did music for it. That's the biggest part, possibly for me, is that T. Lopes did new music for it.
I love T. Lopes, but I think we all know that we have his best work. All right.
Oh, that is true. That is true. But we're going to get Estelle playable, like a lot of people were predicting, which is awesome. Estelle's such a cool character design. We don't know who the other 2 characters are. Going to be 3 new characters, but we think they're probably Max and
Shiva.
Who's the last one? Shiva, right? Max
Shiva seems like the most likely one.
I was hoping for Skate and Rube, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. Max and Shiva are the easiest ones to put in there, let's be honest. Those 3 already have like the models and the movesets and whatnot.
Exactly.
Things like that. Clemps, have you played Streets of Rage 4?
Unfortunately, I have to admit, I always love how the games look, but I am terrible at them. I am so bad. The last style of game I played like that was the what's that thing called? Johnny Test? No. What? What is it? Scott Pilgrim. That's the one.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny Test. I love it.
Oh my God.
Scott Pilgrim, and I was really bad at it. I was super bad. But I always try and get better at them. I think like the closest game, even though it's nowhere like near to what they are, I think the closest thing I can say to something that I really enjoy that's like side-scrolling, beat 'em up action is Odin Sphere Freyser.
Oh, nice! I really like that.
Good choice.
That game is it's good.
Oh, it's
It is.
I've
fantastic,
heard really
and
good things.
so many great quality of life improvements compared to the original. Like I love the original.
Yeah.
Left for Seer is so much better.
Yeah.
I will say though, I personally believe Streets of Rage is better than Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim takes a little bit of time to get into it because of the whole River City aspect. Streets of Rage, you're right in there. You don't need to learn anything. The balancing is great. It's just pick up and play.
There's like a lot more
I'll
nuance to Streets of Rage 4's gameplay. A lot
Maybe
more
I'll
nuance.
play it with like
I
a
would say.
friend.
That's a great way to
That's
play
the way to do it. Like most beat 'em ups, right? That's the way to do it.
Oh, sure.
Really quick, I know we have a lot of news to get through. I just want to throw out some good vibes for y'all. My co-founders already know this, but I just got my second Pfizer dose. Hell yeah! 2 more weeks and I got maximum immunity. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Clemps inadvertently provided me with one of the best segues I could ask for. So, speaking of playing games online, maybe not with friends, but
Right.
let's go ahead and get this next story up on screen. And if you've been on Twitter, you've probably seen this thing getting roasted. Intel has created a hate speech tool, and not like one that assists you in hate speech, which would be a
I don't think anybody needs help on that.
Yeah, nobody needs help with that. But they created this tool that is supposed to use AI to automatically censor hate speech in games that you're playing. Which, I mean, it is funny in a sense, because if you look at the screenshots circulating on Twitter, there's like an N-word toggle and, you know, a misogyny toggle. Like, you can, you know, the player has the ability, like, oh, I would really not like to hear the N-word, but I would love me some misogyny with my games today. So I get why
I've seen that, yeah.
Twitter is having a field day with it. But I really wanted to talk about this story because I think this is good. I think this is actually a really great thing.
Protect some people, for God's sake. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
I would love to see this adopted by PSN and Xbox Live and every other corner of the internet with 12-year-olds on it.
Bring in the options.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me. I mean, don't get me wrong. There shouldn't be like an N-word toggle in my Xbox, but I also at the same time would love to see developers say, you know, hey, do you want to block out harmful language in voice chat on your games? Because it's a big part of the reason I don't play randoms in almost anything, because I just don't want to hear that kind of crap when I'm playing games. So any company that is capable of doing this, I'm all for it. You know, I appreciate that it's optional, but I really wouldn't care if it wasn't.
Yeah. As Jiminy points out, who I actually don't recognize in the chat before. I think it might be a new one. So if so, welcome.
We've seen Gemini before.
Oh, have we?
But
Whoops.
we're happy you're here.
But they
anyway.
said just not just a toggle, a level switch. You can set how much you want to hear of each type of bigotry. It's bizarre.
That is weird.
I love it.
I mean, are you? It's really when you break it down and think about it, it's like that is very strange. But I don't know. But I guess that the hypothetical here is, according to them, is if you had a profanity filter with sensitivity and someone said fudge and the word clipped off briefly, the max slider would bleep that. So I guess it kind of tells how hard to go about those. So even stuff that's kind of close to it will get cut off and bleeped.
I'll be honest.
This is absolutely a great thing. Like, I mean, oh, go ahead, Steve.
I want to see this technology taken a bit further. I want stuff like this to be used to automatically recognize who is saying stuff like this and auto-report it to Xbox Live or Steam or whoever. Like if you're in a game dropping just hateful, nasty speech,
Mm-hmm.
then they should absolutely say, like, hey, this person is using racial slurs in your game. Go ban them from your game. Like, I think it would just make the internet... I mean, a lot of what happens online is just because there are no repercussions for most things. Right?
People can hide behind the computer.
Yeah, and historically, and this is every platform holder, they've made the users responsible for reporting the terrible things that they have to hear and see.
Well, yeah.
I mean, take some responsibility and police it yourself rather than making the users experience it and then tell you about it. So yeah, I'm thrilled that this is a thing that's coming. I get it is so easy to dunk on because of the UI design. Like, I saw this one that was like Data from Star Trek The Next Generation, and he was walking into the holodeck and he's like, computer, turn the N-word filter off. And I was like, I get it, it's objectively funny to make fun of.
Sure.
The backbone of this is that it's a really cool idea because, we are all from a position of privilege where you're probably not going to get racial slurs thrown at you, or at least not accurate ones, online when playing a game.
Yeah.
Whereas, people of color, trans kids, LGBTQ folks, they're gonna hear crap like this, and it makes them feel unwelcome in those communities, in those games. And anything you can do to make it an easier experience for people that are marginalized, that do have those different life experiences, man, just do it. I would be thrilled to see this across the board. Hate speech has no place in games, period.
Exactly, and it's like anything else, right? I mean, in its current form, it's a bit janky. The interface is kind of ridiculous, but give it time, right? Like most things, it'll get refined over time, and maybe it'll get refined to a point that it can be adopted by platform holders or console platform holders.
Yeah.
Because I totally agree with you, Steve. I would love to see this implemented, forcibly implemented into both PlayStation and Xbox's ecosystems. I think it's fantastic. Nintendo doesn't really need it as much at present. They may get to a point where they do. Nintendo has their own other issues to work out first, frankly. But yeah. But no, I think this is you already mentioned it, Steve. This is so fantastic for all the reasons you already said, and I think this is great, and I just hope to see it evolve and become even better and more useful. As you said, hate speech has no place in games.
Hope it works.
Yeah, I was
I think that's the thing. It is a good idea, but.
Yeah, I would need to see
this. I think being on YouTube it sure has taught you that robots are kind of annoying.
Yeah,
sometimes.
No,
Yep.
I 100% agree with that. I think that there's some concerns in the chat too. Like, people are saying, like, look at YouTube auto captions. How good are those? Those are yeesh. They are.
Oh yeah.
Insanely terrible.
Right.
So I do get that. I would need to see this. I mean, as much as I love the concept, I would absolutely need to see that it does work as advertised before I would jump in and embrace this. Like, obviously,
That's
you don't
pretty
want,
much the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think with a community like the gaming community, you have one shot to get this right. Like, you don't roll this out and have it totally wrong out of the gate, or else it'll just be a PR disaster. But it would be nice to have a way to make online voice chat in games just less terrible.
I mean,
Adam
it
Davis
also means
has...
to be... Okay, Dash.
Oh, Adam Davis in the chat has the best idea, which is, Steve, I have a better idea. We just don't say these things. If only it were that easy.
That is asking too much, Ash. You are crazy.
I'd like 1 million subscribers and some sponsorships, but
right?
one hand. So
yeah, the reality is unfortunately quite sad, and there's a reason gamers are kind of maligned these days. We don't exactly have the best track record. Let's be honest. So
that's a nice way to put it.
That is you're being very diplomatic.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
Are you ready for? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, are you all ready for another real gamer moment? Because I got another one for you. Let me throw that up on screen. So this is today's big story, is that The Last of Us is getting a remake. Like the game that was re-released on PS4.
Right. It's just...
It It gets worse. So this comes from Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg by way of IGN. And he, in his typical fashion, he's got a lot of info beyond that. So apparently there was a 2019 pitch for Days Gone 2 that was done by Sony Bend, and they just they didn't want to go that route. They found that another smaller studio was working on a Last of Us remake, and they wanted to do it with a small team, with a smaller crew, and kind of make a different take on the original Last of Us, which I think could have been really interesting. Sony caught wind of it and decided that this should go to Naughty Dog and should be their next big project. And if y'all know Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, he seldom misreports. So if he's the one putting this story out there, you can be confident he has vetted it, and this is more than likely a real thing that's happening.
Well, I think it seems like it's already been canceled though, because Sony was trying to keep the existence a secret. They refused to offer extra budget for the project, and then head of PlayStation Studios Herman Holst, according to this, apparently deemed the project too expensive, and Mumbauer's team was moved to support development of The Last of Us 2. So this isn't actually happening. But they were planning on having it happen.
I think the entire story, even if that is true, but it's not going to happen, I still think it was very poorly timed for when it came out, considering you know the Sony apocalypse that will soon be crashing upon our heads. I actually just bought Dissidia 012 because that game is amazing and I want to own it physically, because there will be a point where you just can't buy it on the Vita anymore.
Well,
I want it.
And not only the PlayStation Store crashes being coming, but also the fact that, like, if this were actually moving ahead as a real project, it would taste even worse than it already does because of what's going on with Sony's Japanese studios right now. Like Japan Studio, we've talked on previous episodes about how there's so much restructuring going on, and Sony is so much more focused on their Western, IPs and devs right now, which they're great. Love Naughty Dog, love Last of Us, really cool. But I miss Sony's more experimental Japanese games. I hate that they're not really focusing on those anymore. So to have not only that, but then also have a remake of The Last of Us when we already have The Last of Us remastered, and it's great. I mean, does The Last of Us really need a remake? And clearly, someone at Sony thought it didn't. It was too expensive. But as much as I'm glad this isn't moving forward, it's frustrating that they were even putting that much time and money into considering it versus just doing some more of their other cool Japanese experimental vibey games. I love that stuff from them, and that just seems to not be what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of dollars and cents behind why they're making the decisions they're making. What I'm really curious about, though, is for months now, people have been saying, in fact, there was a report back in February that mentioned that God of War would be delayed out of this year. What is Sony filling their calendar up with? Because we have Returnal coming soon. And if God of War gets delayed out of 2021, and I know we never had a firm date on it, that leaves Horizon Forbidden West. And
I mean, we got Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, that's
in
true.
June.
We do have Ratchet and Clank.
We got Ratchet and Clank in June. Also, I do want to correct myself. So Mumbauer might not be working on it, but now Sony themselves are working on it. So
okay, that's what I thought.
So,
I was going to say.
So it's still happening.
Okay.
Sorry, I just got a paragraph like highlighted itself like, oh, it must have been canceled, but everybody's making a big deal out of this. But no, it's still happening.
I was like, dang, I tried to read that story. I thought I got
Sorry,
it right.
that's my fault. That's my fault.
All right, so
See,
they are
even the cops in LA think it's a bad idea. The sirens are coming. They're coming there for us reporting on this story.
Hide your daughters.
But yeah, that's how exactly what you can hear on my end is how I feel about this story. Why? Don't stop. But apparently it's happening, and I don't get why The Last of Us. What?
Well, apparently they were looking into the original Uncharted at first, and then they decided
that makes more sense.
Yes.
Uncharted 1 needs a remake. The Last of Us definitely doesn't. It still plays really well. This just annoys me on so many levels, man.
Yeah,
it's baffling.
It's unfortunate because I think that Sony would be better off. I mean, I hate the practice of it, but money had a new JRPG or something. Like get us something that PlayStation is traditionally known for that we're not seeing enough of. I mean, do we have like a solid JRPG besides Final Fantasy 16 announced for PS5?
No, Not that I can think of. Not that, like, I mean, not in the traditional sense. I guess maybe that Tales of Arise, but
we've got the near remaster coming out very soon.
Near Replica's coming.
Yeah, that won't be exclusive.
No.
I'm trying to think of things which are like, you know, Sony. Like Sony
Yeah,
have got,
trying to think about the JRPG front. There's not a lot, but
maybe they'll announce a Legend of Dragoon remake. That's a game that does need a remake. Sony.
You can say
See,
that.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
man.
it needs to be remade because I didn't think the original was that great, but I think there's potential there.
Eastman
And
23
that needs a remake.
does correctly mention FF7 Remake Intergrade, which, yeah.
I mean, integrative, obviously, but I mean, that's
Right.
so obvious. It's like, yeah.
I think we meant like new games, though, right? Like new,
I was thinking of something like
original
brand
projects.
new. Intergrade, though, I mean, it will scratch that itch for me at least.
For sure.
I imagine for all of us here on the panel tonight, which isn't always true. But
Yes.
yeah, I can't. I mean, I feel like The Last of Us is a very weird place to revisit so soon. I mean, I have
is
to
there
wonder
anything
when this
wrong
started.
with Last of Us Remastered? That's my thing. Like, I
I
don't.
personally love The Last of Us Part 2. I think The Last of Us Remastered, like you mentioned, Derek, it looks great still. Like, I don't think, man, this needs to look better. Although, I do have to wonder, like, it maybe they're using this as a means of getting back. Well, no, it's Naughty Dog. They'll be fine. Like, I was thinking,
You know,
like,
what would be
maybe
a great Naughty Dog
PS4
property that has not been remade yet, and people would actually really like to see? Jack and Daxter. A Jack and Daxter trilogy type thing. I think people would be legit excited about.
Oh, 100%. I'd love that. I'd love
Well,
that.
and what's also weird is that this also comes in the midst of them making the Last of Us HBO series, and it just feels like they're
that doesn't feel
throwing
weird.
everything at the Last of Us.
That
and
doesn't
that's great.
feel weird at all now that you mention it.
Oh, no, that's definitely a tie-in.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me all of a sudden.
I guess it could be.
I mean, because think about
tied
it.
into that.
You don't want people, and as Jenny G correctly pointed out in the chat, The Last of Us Remastered is free on PSN as part of the PS Plus collection. But if you release like a 4K HDR brand new remake of The Last of Us around the time this HBO show comes out, and you're like, hey, you know, people will go to the store looking for The Last of Us, and a Last of Us game just happened to come out. I'll buy that. It is
I hate how
stupid.
cynical that is, but it's so
That's the problem. It is
Totally agree.
completely plausible.
I just don't. I don't know. At least I personally kind of have Last of Us fatigue after playing Part 2. You know, and I played The Last of Us Remastered. I played Left Behind. I love this series, but I want to see almost anything else from Sony at this point, just because they have so many other IPs that are untapped, especially, as I said, on their Japanese end. And I get that they wouldn't be doing that anyway. That's just not in the cards. But
yeah,
even in their Western properties, they have other stuff they could do. I think the only thing I could be less excited about than this is Days Gone 2, and that already got canned. So, yeah.
All right.
But, I mean, hey, Bend is now working on a brand new game, so, you know, they could see something decent from them.
Yeah,
I've not touched Days Gone, so I have no idea if it's actually any
From a
good.
technical perspective, is a really cool game. I've never played it. My brother, who is a huge fan of it, though, and he tells me constantly that I need to find time for it, but the character and the world haven't really done much for me. Maybe eventually. It's free, PS Plus collection again, so I might try it at some point. I will reiterate what Ash said, though. I would really love to see Sony pursuing more exclusives or partnerships with Japanese developers. I think that, like Nintendo, I come to the PlayStation for more Eastern-focused or Eastern-developed games. You know, I think, like, I hate to say it, but when I think Western games, I think Xbox. I think more...
It's fair.
You know, and with the exception of a few. Horizon is a Western-developed game, and I absolutely love it. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it is.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say.
Most of the big AAA games that you think of on PlayStation nowadays is Western developed. There's not a lot of big Japanese developed AAA games that you can think of, like, from Sony themselves.
I mean, the most depressing thing in the world for me right now is knowing that we probably won't be getting Gravity Rush 3.
Yeah, I was thinking
that makes my heart sink. There are tons of really unique games like that might not make it to the store now, and it just it really puts a dampener on my mood. It's very strange. I go to the Switch now for a lot of my Japanese games. I mean, hell, the portability aspect is obviously one great reason for that, but
there's another 3 that we won't be getting that I lost hope for a long time ago, but we definitely are never getting it now, and that's, of course, Parappa the Rapper 3. Stuff like that. Sony just used to do so many cool little weird things like that, and it added so much to their identity and their portfolio. And look, you guys know I'm so hyped for Horizon Forbidden West. Obviously, I'm going to play the hell out of that game. But I don't just want big Western-developed AAA games from Sony. I really don't. And this just is really unfortunate.
And
deeply
especially because you never know when something's going to take off. Because I remember when Katamari Damacy first came out, and it was just this weird, quirky game that everybody talked about, and it just blew up. Just became this massive franchise just because, weird, quirky concept that's a lot of fun to play. Who knew?
I hate how like cynical my brain is turning with this kind of thing, but I just picture a room of men in suits, and they bring like Parappa up, and they go, right, will this man make us money?
Yeah.
And they go, well, I show to you Last of Us, and they show like the little chart going up like that, and they go, right, well, because they don't listen to podcasts like these and go like, well, the people want a Parappa. They go, no, Parappa will not get us money.
Yeah.
They will not, and we shan't get it until there's proof that there will be cash in pockets.
Man, Kickstarter Parappa. I'll back it.
Yeah. At this point,
same.
At this point.
With all the developers Sony's bleeding, it would not surprise me if we start getting some, Kickstarter type of like inspired games like we got with Bloodstained and Mighty Number 9. Hopefully better than that.
Certainly better than that.
I mean, instead of Gravity Rush, we'll get, I don't know, Dimension Hop.
I think he started his new company, didn't he? The director of Gravity Rush. Maybe I might be.
I'm not sure.
I think I remember hearing that.
Yeah,
like a few weeks back. No, I think you're right.
Well, we could lament about the state of Japanese game development forever, but our next story is somewhat tied to Japanese games. I'm going to throw that on screen now. And this has to be one of the wildest stories I've ever seen. A French Nintendo fan decided to recreate their 19th century office in his backyard to store his collection of Nintendo playing cards.
Wait, just playing cards?
Go off, King.
Yeah.
Like if you got the time and dedication to do that, you build your big old building. Good for you.
I want to hang out with this guy. I'll bring the beer, man. I'll front all that. I just want to
I'm
hang out
looking
with
at
him.
the
Look
pictures
at his stuff.
and it's just like, jeez.
Yeah, good
cool.
for you. I can barely get up in the morning, and this man can make a whole
Right?
Nintendo shed.
That is
That's
a
great.
whole ass mood right there.
Well, that's like
man.
that one guy who created like a rental store in his basement during the pandemic, just because like, well, I got the time now, so.
Yeah, the name of this fan is Fabrice Heilig, and I mean the level of research this guy did. He went to Kyoto and measured things that were on the site where the office used to be to get a sense of scale, so he could build it to scale because it was demolished. I want to say in 2014 to make a parking lot.
Of course.
I mean, it is insane to see just the work that this person put in. He imported a fire hydrant, or I'm sorry, a fire extinguisher box, which was common in older buildings in Japan. He imported Japanese tile from, I want to say, Holland, because that's where he could find it.
Adorable.
He hired a carpenter. It's just the level of dedication to his craft here is crazy.
Good for him.
No,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Where do people like this find the time? I guess
I
they're just
know,
independently
right?
wealthy. I mean, how do you find the time to do this? I can't even find the time to finish a damn video game. How do you build a whole,
Yes, that's
Go to Kyoto
restoration
and
of
build a
Nintendo's
shed.
first build? How do you? Yeah, I don't
To
even
be
get
fair, this guy, I would say, less I'm less surprised he found the time and more surprised that he found the money because
Both.
he hired a professional to do this for him, which if you're going to recreate a 19th century building, probably best. I mean, I'm not going to go on Etsy and find a DIY for this thing.
I feel like if the internet has given us many mysteries that can't be unraveled. We have the mysteriously wealthy furries. God bless them. God bless them. And I think with the mysteries of the internet, I think, where did the man find his money? Who knows? He built a Nintendo shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just
the guy was definitely wealthy to begin with. If he has a collection of playing cards dating back to 2012, and it just grew from there.
Suspiciously wealthy.
It doesn't even seem like it's just Nintendo games. It's just the playing cards, which is even more like niche and probably pricey.
But to be fair, he built it because his Nintendo collection had overrun his home and needed a place. He's like, the cards can stay in my absolutely perfect 19th century replica Nintendo office. The Nintendo games stay in the house. Like, I love this man. I want to be friends with him. He's my best friend, and he doesn't know it yet. But
so apparently, there's going to be a part 2 to this story, where they're actually going to show the inside of it, because they show the inside of it being built, but they're going to show the actual completed version. So all we can see is the outside, but there's going to be more.
Yeah,
maybe this guy gets his money in the same place Tommy Wiseau got his money to make the room. Like, nobody knows where he got that money, so maybe they have the same dark money source. Man, I don't know.
I bet it didn't cost as much as it would cost to build a house.
Oh yeah.
So I think he had his passion money. He saved up for 15 years, and he was like, I want to build a kick-ass shed. And he did. And God bless him, he did. And I respect that as an American. I
just respect it.
As an American with the British accent and talking about a French man.
Sorry, I apologize for being British. I apologize. I'm sorry. I can't be perfect. I know.
I would argue that the British accent brings you closer to perfection.
Ooh,
same.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Nice. It is an interesting thing. Like, I think you're right though, Clemps. I think that that this didn't cost nearly as much as the stuff he's putting in it. Like, I would bet his card collection is worth far more than the cost of building that shed to keep it in. Because I've looked into, I mean, being somebody who has 4 kids and records from his bedroom, I've looked many times into building a shed out in my backyard and turning that into a makeshift YouTube studio. But one, I live in Arizona. It's like 111 degrees Fahrenheit out here, which is far too hot for game consoles, let alone human beings, to survive. And the other part
industrial AC connected to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, what makes it very expensive for me in my situation is that I would actually have to modify my air conditioning unit and then, like, dig trenches and run, it would make my house unsellable. I would never be able to leave this place.
Right.
But it's the actual shed, the portion of building the shed is only about like $5,000. I mean, and I imagine you take he probably built a structure like that and then built a facade around it to, appear as a traditional 19th century Japanese building. Because that would, I mean, because he mentions he air conditioned it and did some other things. So I bet this is actually, project-wise, maybe about $10,000 or $12,000, which is a lot, but not nearly as much as a home, as Clemps mentioned. Like,
or a car.
Yeah.
Or a car.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely not going to get a bank loan for it, but
no.
You have to have that money available. But it is within the reach of, mildly well-to-do folks. I mean, if I really thought about it, I could save for a couple of years and probably get there. But I don't have that kind of dedication.
Exactly. Right.
If
it's
somebody
like,
could give me the money,
this is stuff you do in your retirement. It's like, I got nothing better to do. I got some extra money. Let's do something fun.
Why not? Yeah, it's fun. It's creative.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah.
Hey, if you got the money and you're not gonna, you're taking care of your responsibilities and your health and everything, you got the money, spend it on what makes you happy. There's nothing wrong with that. And clearly, this guy has his passion and he knows what he wants to do with his money. That's awesome. Good for him.
If I could build an articulated Aethasite crystal, teleport crystal from Final Fantasy XIV into my back garden. I do it. I do it. I put some money aside.
Yep.
I'd absolutely do it.
You need to make a shed so you can recreate your home from Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh,
with all the
there you
posters and stuff that you
there
like
we
recreate
go.
that.
There we go.
How long?
I mean, hey, if I
until-
could,
Oh, go ahead.
I would say, hey, if I could drop 10 grand or so on a brand new, directly imported from Japan DDR machine, newest mix,
Oh, yeah,
pristine,
exactly.
I'd do that shit in a second. So you know what? Hats off to this guy. Yeah.
Nice. I was gonna say, how long do we think it'll be until some Animal Crossing superfan rebuilds their Animal Crossing home in the real world?
I'm amazed it hasn't been done.
I was
going
gonna
to
say that. I'm
Market being
surprised it
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're right.
They just have like a raccoon in there. Like, look, this is as close as I could get. Tanukis aren't.
And he's angry, and he
Yeah.
wants to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just shove you in there with a rabid raccoon. They're like, he likes money. Just try giving him
Oh
money.
my! Azran, bravo! A Final Fantasy shed.
Before
Free. I love it.
Free.
Amy loves Final Fantasy. We could get her a Final Fantasy shed. Just saying.
Right?
I
wanna
think she'd
know
be just
now-
happy with one of those fat cat plushes they have.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I want to know now who the first Mega Man fan is going to be to build their very own Dr. Light's lab in their backyard. That's the guy I want to meet,
That's
or the
you.
gal.
Have they shown enough of it so they
That's
can
me.
actually recreate it?
Probably. You could probably cobble. I mean, look, if this guy can remake Nintendo's original headquarters that are now destroyed and are doing it based on, what he can still find of that, then I think people can cobble together enough from various games to recreate Dr.
I
Light's
guarantee
lab,
you
maybe.
that'll be our million subscriber special. Ash
Yeah.
rebuilding with whatever materials he has readily available. Dr. Light's lab.
Yeah.
Really, all you really should do, Ash, is get a light capsule from X and just have like
That
a
would be pretty
life-size
cool.
light projected inside of there. That way you get like, all right, need my upgrade.
Nice.
Yeah. That would be pretty sick, actually.
In,
yeah.
in reality,
Okay.
it's just the world's
Like what you think.
fanciest coffee machine.
Yeah.
Comes out with a latte.
Or it's like an Intertron from Chrono Trigger. It like gives you a full night's sleep in like a second, but it still leaves you hungry.
Oh,
Man, you
Yeah.
know what? I would buy that shit.
Oh, in a second.
Are you kidding me? Like, if I could just get a full night's sleep in 5 seconds, I would never actually sleep. I'd be like, that's for
Right.
suckers.
Imagine how much more you could get done, all the games you could actually finish if you could get a full night's sleep in 5 seconds.
I mean,
My
if you
God, that would be perfect.
capitalism would make sure we're working all that extra
I
time.
know.
I was about.
know. Yeah.
I. The sound of a good night's sleep is, it is like torture. I've been having this is like. I hate to drag the topic away, but it's why I'm
Oh, no.
so. I feel so dead to I kind of like zone out, and I'm like, whoa. I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and he had been having night terrors, and I was like, damn, that really sucks. Few nights later, for the first time in my life, I have a night terror.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then
I've had
the
one.
next
It's
night,
terrible.
I have a night terror.
Oh,
And the
no.
night after that, I have a night terror.
What?
My friend has passed his curse onto me. And
Oh, God.
it's got to be something subconscious. But the conversation, it was a long conversation. I do not feel rested.
Oh,
It's
no.
but it's the weirdest thing as well, because there's not like a man sitting at the end of my bed or something like that. It's my phone. I pick up my phone and I can physically feel my phone. And the most horrible shit has gone on when I open my phone. Like, I'm talking, the worst kind of stuff. And I'll look at it and I'll browse through the social medias and stuff
Oh,
like
God,
that.
doom
And-
scrolling in your night
it-
terror. That's awful.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. And
terrible.
it feels so real. And then I wake up and I'm like, my chest is hurting. I feel out of breath. And I'm like, all right. And I'll check my phone and none of it was real. None of it was real. My phone is still charging. And I'm like, Oh man! Thankfully, last night, this is gonna sound so dumb. Last night was just a regular bad dream.
I mean, after 3 nights of night terrors,
it was a bad
that's
dream.
No, hey.
It really is a case, and I am so happy I've booked my therapy appointment for next Wednesday, because this has like opened up like
I mean,
the can of worms has been opened and dumped on the floor.
Has your friend had a night terror since this started happening to you? Because that's what I'm curious about.
Right.
Is this an It Follows situation where they passed it to you?
I did see a few people going like, he's passed the demon on to you, and they know. But no, I don't know if it's because I also watched a documentary ages ago about night terrors, and I remember hearing that it was like one of the things is that, you know, I never knew I had night terrors until you listen to some. So first of all, I'm so sorry if I pass the demon on, but it's like you hear someone talking about it and you're like, okay, and then it's like something just snap, and all of a sudden, and I was like, oh, it didn't. After I watched the documentary, it's fine, nothing happened. I talked to my mate. Down I go, down, yeah, and it's the most, because it's like I doom scrolling. I've been trying not to, but it's like, you know, my brain's just like, ha. I see you trying to be healthy.
Well, what else are you doing? You go on Twitter and look at that.
My heart fully goes out to you, man, because I've had exactly one night terror in my life, and it is one of the most memorably horrifying experiences I've ever had, and I'll never forget it. So I'm so sorry that you've had not just one, but 3 in a row.
I am hoping that it was just a 3, like a triple whammy, and then I'm like, all right.
I hope so too, for your sake, man.
They do say bad things come in 3s.
I'm so tired.
We're keeping you up at midnight, so
I'm so tired. Like, oh man, it's like you just don't feel rested. You get up and your hair's all messy and you're like, oh my god, like cold sweat, and you just think, man.
I have to ask this though, because I've never had a night terror, which means maybe you're going to pass the demon on to me and you'll be fine. But
I hope not.
Is it like does it prepare you better for a regular nightmare? Like when you have that normal nightmare after a night terror, are you just like, is that all you got?
Not really, because it's a lot different. Like night terrors, it just feels like real life, and in some cases that can be even scarier, because, you know, like in my case, there's nothing supernatural. It's like real because it's on my phone. That sucks. Like if it was like a goblin and he's like dancing at the end of my bed, and he's like, oh, wow, I'd be like, all right. It's a night terror. Got it. Just get through it. But with a nightmare, obviously. Yeah, right?
Because I've had that. That was mine. Was supernatural. It was like a ghost woman with like long hair, and she like got in my face and like stared in my face with this creepy smile, and I was screaming. I couldn't wake up.
Oh my god!
It's me, the night goblin. Like, yeah, but with nightmares, obviously you don't realize it's fake until you wake up, and then you think that sucked. And then you go on with your day. But it's, oh man. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry to chat for derailing it onto the topic of supernatural. But I always love talking about that stuff. I think it's super interesting. I just wish it didn't happen to me.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Said every person that watched a true crime YouTube video ever.
Right?
All right.
In the mind of a serial killer.
So hopefully this next story means the end of our long nightmare of a world without new Sonic games. Let me get that one on
I'd be sad. I'd be sad. I think Sonic is a lovable little man.
Yeah.
I think you know what? He runs real fast. I want to run real fast. Relatable. I love him. Yeah. Little man. He's a friendly face, and you know what? His games, some of them are good, some of them are not. Fair enough. Whatever. I've had good and bad days. Let him live his good life.
I like the way you think. I completely agree.
Yeah. So, Nintendo Life is reporting, and this is through some interesting links here, but Sonic Colors may be getting remastered, and the reason that this is making the rounds today is that the studio responsible for German dubs of Sonic games just kind of casually listed a Sonic Colors remaster. Not just Sonic Colors, it said Sonic Colors remaster on their website.
I've noticed it's always European Amazon sites or other sites like that always like they always just slip it out there.
I mean, a lot of those like Nintendo leaks for like embargoes and stuff is always Nintendo of Europe. I don't know what it is with Europe, but
Yeah.
What's also interesting is it's listed in their 2020 credits section. So we don't know if that means that that's when they were working on it or if it's since been canceled. My feeling is that it's still coming and that it's a thing that's real and that we're going to have it,
I think
announced somewhat soon.
I think so too, because the person that found this did a bit of digging and also found, oddly enough, a listing for Sonic Colors Ultimate for Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X on a store site, and I can't remember which one, but again, it's like a European store site that had this. The timing, it seems really weird, and it seems like how do you coincidentally have two wildly different sources saying that there's a new Sonic Colors coming, or a remake rather? That just seems like, how the hell does that happen? So I'm inclined to say that there's enough smoke here for there to be some kind of fire. I mean,
well, there may be even more smoke than you think, because I went to on the download those tweet and clicked through to the iksample.de/projects link, and it's down. It's down for maintenance.
I was going to say the site has been down since this Nintendo Life story went up. So on the download, though, for those of you that don't know, he's a massive Sonic fan. He's a friend of the show, too. He hasn't been on yet, but he will be at some point. Huge Dragon Ball, huge Sonic fan.
Perfect.
So, yeah, exactly. He'd fit right in. And I'm trying to see where his tweet is on this subject.
But according to this article, this Nintendo Life article covering him, it says, looking around the rest of the website, you also spot some rather confusingly named games, potentially just project code names like the U King Zelda from 2017, which was supposedly Breath of the Wild's development name. There's also Alan Wake, which is also rumored to be returning in Remedy's next game, getting a mention along with, of all things, Final Fantasy IV.
Which is that's odd.
Would that be a port of like? Do we get a Switch port of Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection off PSP? Because that thing's
I hope so.
Right.
Oh. We both said the same thing. Yeah, the PSP version. Hell yeah.
Oh, that PSP version is
Or I'd be really happy if they did what they like. The same style as Bravely Default 2 and Miitopia Octopath.
Awesome.
But that's sort of like taking Final Fantasy IV DS and up-resing it like that to for a port or something like that.
At this
I don't
point,
know,
with the older 2D Final Fantasies, I've got to admit, this is a very personal thing, but I always feel like they don't really translate well into 3D. Bring it into Octopath, give it that look. Perfect.
Right.
Even Final Fantasy VI, especially Final Fantasy VI.
Especially FF6,
animate the sprites. Make the backgrounds look beautiful. Maybe put in some voice acting, portraits, and maybe add in a new dungeon for Spice. I think that would be amazing. I think.
Plus, I already beat FF4 DS once, and that was one of the most brutally difficult games I've ever experienced in my life. So I'm good on that. I don't need to play it again.
That's so weird to me because I played and enjoyed Final Fantasy IV DS, and I don't remember it being that hard.
That's so fun. I liked it, but it was at least. I mean, it's known for being difficult, so maybe you just sailed on.
Maybe it's because that's one of the first. Didn't get tricked like a lot of like old school Final Fantasy IV fans, because I think that's the first time I played through the entire game.
Could be. Oh, that could be it then.
You can coast through the game pretty easily until you get to the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, they really put on the knuckle gloves for that one.
Would Square be smart enough to have Final Fantasy IV content with Endwalker stuff coming soon?
100%. 100%.
Because they're going hard on the Final Fantasy IV stuff with Endwalker.
Oh, we are definitely getting some. I mean, didn't they? Isn't that whale?
The Lunar Whale
reference to the
Lunar Whale,
yeah. There's I can only imagine we're gonna get a lot of Final Fantasy IV stuff. And I
bring it on.
I mean, considering that isn't the May thing they've got going on. Like some of the minions you can get are Edge, Rydia, and Cecil.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's
Cecil,
Edge,
sorry.
Rydia, and who's the other one?
Rosa.
I don't think it was Cecil. Rosa, that was the other one.
Yeah. I mean,
Which I want the Rydia one, but
but it's so weird though. But I hate. I won't derail it as much as last time. I'm sorry, but it is really weird how it's really Final Fantasy IV inspired. But then let's throw in anima for good taste, and I'm like, all right,
sure.
Yeah.
Just mix it all in.
she's here, cool.
Right.
She just. It's like a crane machine. They just like pick up this one Final Fantasy X thing, like do.
I mean, that kind of is 14 in a nutshell, where they just pull like titles and things from across the entire series.
I'm so excited. I love Anima. She's a fantastic Aeon, so I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah.
With her.
Going back to Sonic for a second, as excited as I am about Sonic Colors Remaster, and I am, the one thing about this that kind of makes me a little sad is I really want Sonic Generations remastered now, and I also want Sonic Unleashed remastered with completely retooled night levels that don't suck this time. But I really want all three of those. All three, especially Generations.
When you called out Sonic Unleashed, I was going to say, what the hell is wrong with you? Half that game is trash.
No, the good half, and then retool the bad half.
No,
I
mean,
at least less bad.
Also, make sure it's not the same damn music every time you get into a fight.
Oh God, right? Yeah.
Need
but
battle
Generations remastered, you guys. That's what I really want. Generations is such a damn good game.
It's good,
and I just want a way to play it in 4K on modern consoles. That's really. I'll take colors.
100%.
Hell yeah, colors.
Man.
But
imagine them putting
man.
Sonic Generations and having even more songs to play through the levels that you unlock as you go play through the game.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite parts, is just putting any song to any level and just enjoying the hell out of it.
Skull Kid Tiger asks, am I the only one who wants to give 06 a chance to be remade? Yes. Actually, it's being remade by a fan. There's like a Sonic 06 remake fan project out right now that's porting the game to Unity and is trying to fix a bunch of the problems. It actually looks really promising.
I
never played Sonic 06 though.
It does feel like it's almost a better effort to try to make bad games better than to remake good games.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's not done.
The thing about 06 is I love that game's story for all the wrong reasons. You know, so if they can make the funniest story really fun to play, I will play that game over and over again. Honestly, 100%, no doubt.
Yeah. As long as that's the thing though, is if you fix Sonic 06, right, and you really overhaul it, is it even Sonic 06 anymore? Because there's so much wrong with that game at every level of development that when you try to make a good game out of it, I don't even know if that's still Sonic 06 anymore. Just it's so bad. And I agree with you, by the way. I love it for all the wrong reasons, mainly the story. It's I can't believe it was released in the state that it was. In terms of Elise kissing Sonic to make him go supersonic, I can't believe that was a thing that happened. But
I can't believe they put in my draft.
So that's how the furries get so rich.
Yeah,
I am the suspiciously wealthy furry.
I think there could be merit in an 06 remake, maybe, but I just don't know if it would be 06 anymore if it isn't just absolutely bursting with jank. And just ridiculousness.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Classy Mudkip in the chat. Mania is the only Sonic game I've ever played, and I think it got my expectations too high. Yes, it did. You will never go anywhere but down from there. I apologize.
At least play like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, play Sonic Generations. Those are still some of the best, especially 3 and Knuckles.
Solid.
3 and Knuckles is one of the very best platformers ever.
Yeah.
So there's still other stuff. Sonic 2 is also great, and so is Sonic 1, but in terms of Mania, yeah, you're at the top right there.
Yeah, Sonic 2 was probably... Man, that's probably the oldest cheat code I can remember. 1965-09-17. And that's because that's Yuji Naka's birthday, I believe.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which I don't know why, but it sticks in my head. Do that in the sound test. I think it's level select. Am I wrong on that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it is level select. I believe it's level select, and there are other things you can do with that code as well.
Either way, 2D Sonics are definitely going to hold your interest if you like Mania, at a minimum. But I agree that Generations is top tier, and you should absolutely play it as well. All right, so moving on. Speaking of cheat codes, kind of. Here, Ash, you were both right and wrong on this one. So we talked in the last episode about a native 4K port of TimeSplitters 2 being hidden inside Homefront: The Revolution, and we were positing that it would take maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month. Nah, it took a day. the hacking community found the missing codes to put this into motion, so they're on screen right now. If any of y'all have Homefront: The Revolution, you can play 4K TimeSplitters 2 by just entering the codes that are on screen. And there were two separate efforts going on to find this. One was people were trying to reach out to the original guy that they banned and just get the codes from him, which he didn't answer. I can't really feel, I mean, maybe you shouldn't have kicked him out in the first place. And then a separate effort was, again, as Ash posited, hackers just, going into the game and listening for inputs, like finding out where the game was, what inputs the game was looking for, and then kind of by trial and error figuring it out. So they found 5 codes, 2 of which they don't know what they do, which is interesting. So they found a way to get into story mode, a way to get into arcade mode, challenge mode. I'm not sure what that entails because I'm not a big TimeSplitters guy. And then the 2 unknown codes. I'm going to guess, because someone mentioned if there was a way to get 2 arcade games in the same room that you could play multiplayer TimeSplitters, so I'm guessing one of those codes does multiplayer.
I guess.
Who knows what the last one is, but it's amazing that this is, somebody hit a whole game in a game.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I wonder if platform holders knew about this, and this is just a thing that, they let them keep their secret, so to speak, because these games go through pretty rigorous QA to get certified. I find it hard to believe nobody found an entire game hiding within the game.
I feel for this Lance McDonald, who wrote up this thing and listed all the codes. They even have a one following up that a little bit later for separate Xbox and PS4 codes, so you can put it in. But the tweet that hits me the hardest, I feel so bad for this guy. I spent 6 hours today playing through Homefront Revolution on PS4 so I could reach the TimeSplitters 2 arcade cabinet and started reverse engineering the menu input system on it. It is one of the worst games I've ever played. And hours later, someone beat me to it.
That sucks. That sucks.
So he's trying to do all this, did that preservation, and somebody else already did it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is hilarious and sad in equal measure.
Right, but no, I mean, hey, leave it to hackers and leave it to the internet to get this done even more quickly than I ever thought they would. And I mean, that definitely highlights the good, positive power of the internet. Such as it is, that something like this can be discovered, and then a day later, it's been figured out for the masses. That's so cool.
Clemps, I'm going to hazard a guess and say you're probably not a big Homefront: The Revolution guy.
Not so much.
No.
What about TimeSplitters?
I do love TimeSplitters, actually. TimeSplitters 3 was a game I played a lot when I was a little baby boy. I loved that game so much. It was super fun. I loved the create a map stuff. And if they can bring it back, that would be super cool.
Maybe the next Homefront game will hide the TimeSplitters 3 4K remake.
I'd love that. That'd be amazing.
Man, it would get me to buy Homefront games. I might actually pick this one up just because that is a really
buy Homefront games to play this completely different game.
Exactly. So, I don't think we have a lot to say on this. It's Homefront.
It's just more of an update.
Really cool that they found this. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a lot to talk about on this next story. As I think if Derek were a hedgehog, he'd turn into Supersonic, if you know what I mean. Let's go ahead and throw this on screen. Neo, The World Ends With You has a release date, and it's not that far off. July 27th, 2021, coming by way of Nintendo on YouTube. Man, Derek, I'm just going to throw this right to you. How you feeling right now?
What a thing to wake up to. I slept in today and it just got blasted with all this. I haven't even had a chance. It's been a crazy day, so I haven't even really had a chance to really dive into this trailer and try to get more out of it. But the basics that are here are really fascinating. One, in the fact that the cast is freaking huge. Two, in that it seems much more team-based than it was before and has just a bunch of, I don't know, just new concepts here, like fighting other people in the game. That's definitely new, not just the Reapers. And then also the thing that makes our new protagonist unique is the fact that he can apparently go back in time. And that will definitely tie into the fact that Neku kind of disappeared at the end of Final Mix. So
I'm so excited.
Also, very interesting. They have Shibuya Reapers and Shinjuku Reapers, which I'd have to look it up, but I don't think Shinjuku was not in the original World Ends With You, right? Which means there's new areas.
I don't believe so. I didn't play all of it, but I don't remember hearing about it being in the original. This is something like I know I want to play on the surface. Like, I really want to play it. I just don't know if it's going to be a game that I get around to playing. I haven't played the first one. Well, I did play some of the first one, but I haven't finished it. And I feel like I need to do that before I play this. But this also looks really cool. I will say, though, I'm not feeling Rendo's design. I wasn't feeling it when this was first announced, and I still think he just looks kind of weird. I guess maybe it's that... Is he wearing a mask?
It's a face mask. It's a face mask he has pulled down around his chin.
That's what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Not feeling his design, but the rest of it I think looks really cool.
Yeah, I
think
it's
just nice to have a game like that just pop out. It's real good. It's real nice.
There's some amazing animations in this, like the kind of facial expressions, like when the one girl freaks them out and they're like doing this traditional anime stuff. Like it's so much more expressive than the original.
What platform are you thinking about getting it on?
My thought is Switch because I had it on the DS before, but honestly, PS4 and getting the PS5 and haven't really
considering the load times and stuff.
Yeah,
and there's enough visual pizzazz here and enough really cool effects. Like, I love the thunder, like the lightning spell effect is really cool. I just feel like this game's visuals are really going to pop from what we're seeing here, and in that case, I think I'd rather play it on PS4. You know, like, I love playing tons of games on Switch, but specifically graphically impressive games, I do like to play on, more powerful hardware if I have the option.
I hate to point this out, but one, if this is actually Switch footage, and that's what I hate to point out, like, because you never know with a trailer. This could be from a PC.
That's very true.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or from something else. But if it looks as good on Switch as it does in the trailer, I kind of want this game there. Because one,
sure,
as Clemps mentioned, portability is really cool, and I feel like it's easier for me to enjoy something longer like an RPG if I don't have to be committed to the TV, since there are so many other people in my house to share it with. So, if I can sit in bed and while my wife watches TV, I can play Neo: The World Ends With You, then that's probably more incentive for me to actually finish the game. The other thing is, again, if it looks as good as it does in the trailer, I don't really feel like huge compromises had to have been made for it to run on the Switch. And finally, this gives me real conflicted feelings, because I look at this and I'm like, where the hell is Persona 5? If this looks this good on the Switch, why the hell do I not have Persona 5 on here?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and not only that, though, I mean, it is fair to say that, one would associate this series with Nintendo platforms anyway, right, given the fact that the original first came on the DS. So, I mean, I don't think there's a wrong choice here for sure. I mean, it certainly seems like this game is shaping up to be what World Ends With You fans have been wanting for so long. And, I doubt there's going to be a bad choice here, but I will be curious to see the visual differences if there are that many.
I think considering it seems to be going for, like, I guess it looks slightly more action-y. I'd have to see what the frame rate is like, because that is, for an action game, that is quite important for me.
Definitely.
It's like, I don't know, playing Bayonetta at 30 frames or playing Bayonetta at 60, I'd always go for the 60.
True.
So it does depend. I can deal with load times. I can, but I would really like there to be a consistent frame rate between platforms. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
I started looking up the actors because I was like, I've not heard of this Paul Castro Jr. who's playing Rindo, and that's because he hasn't really had a lot of like big stuff. He's done a lot of TV work. And I guess his latest TV series, I guess he did his voice acting on, was Tenku Shinpan, which I've never heard of. I guess some sort of anime. But yeah, kind of a newcomer as far as voice acting goes.
Cool.
Also, a couple of people in the chat have pointed this out. Arkwing and Juan. Can we talk about how the sky in Neo's box art looks exactly like Kingdom Hearts 3's box art sky? And I just looked this up, and it's fucking true, and that's throwing me for a loop.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of
awesome.
people wondering if like the building connections here, and I gotta say, I think they've already said that the worlds are not connected. I need to limit myself and not make those connections because that's just setting yourself up for disappointment. I can't do it.
Maybe.
Being cheeky.
He is being very cheeky.
But given where Kingdom Hearts is going lore-wise, it wouldn't surprise me if there was something going on there. That's really cool. Yeah. Even if it is just a coincidence, though, that's really cool. But I don't know, man. I can't. I could muse about where the lore is going all day. I can't do that. Won't open that Pandora's box. But
please don't.
I'm excited though.
Let's see here. So have we got anything else on the world's ends with you? Because I don't have anything. I've not played any.
I mean, it's looking gorgeous. I'm very excited to play it. I will definitely try to get a review out. I don't know if I can get a full on like deep dive because I know people have asked. They have a lot coming up that I'm trying to get a look at. The thing is, It's mostly story based. Gameplay wise, there's not a whole lot to say. It's basically what we've seen before, still using the pin system. It's interesting you're fighting humans this time around too. It seems more team based, and passing between your teams and getting apparently that groove meter up is going to be the key of it. I think we're still about another trailer away from getting like a full breakdown about how the combat works. But yeah, it just looks great. Like I never thought we'd get a sequel to The World Ends With You, and with Final Fantasy including a cliffhanger, it's like, well, that's a jerk thing to do, and we're not going to get a sequel. And sure enough, we're actually getting a sequel. So
yeah,
I'll take it.
Nice. Real quick, QB no Yoko Gaming mentions that The World Ends With You anime premiered today and is on the Funimation app, which
I gotta watch that.
Great.
I do too.
Also,
I gotta see if that's any good.
When I go to bed.
I think it was also just confirmed that the Neo The World Is With You specifically takes place, I think, 3 years after the anime.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
So,
well, I mean, the anime basically covers the first game, so I think that's just
there are no real differences there. For some reason, they specified the anime. I don't know.
My
guess is we're not expecting you to play the first game. Just watch the anime and then play this.
Maybe I
think that's the thing.
Yeah,
go for it.
Which
all right.
It might be the best thing for you as well, Ash.
Yeah.
So, speaking of animated features, I know this will get Ash's ears perked up. And mine.
Pretty excited.
Final Fantasy VII Advent Children is getting a 4K HDR remaster June 8th. So, not that far away.
Hell yeah.
It is hard to believe, but Final Fantasy VII is what, like 24 years old?
Right.
I can't remember when the original Advent Children came out, but they're saying
2005. It's been 16 years.
Jeez.
Yeah. So,
and it's been a real sight to watch how Advent Children's CG has aged. I mean, it was a absolutely fantastically gorgeous movie when it came out, and animation wise, the battle scenes, like the fight scenes, I still think they hold up. Obviously, the quality of the CG character models definitely does not as much, but you know, say what you will about Advent Children, the story is a mess. It's ridiculous. But it is a treat for the eyes. And as a, happy new owner of a new 4K HDR-enabled TV, I'm excited to see the difference. This is going to be a fun viewing experience, I think.
Yeah, it's not the best movie, but it is interesting to see that they're going through with this. Yeah, I'll watch it again. I like you said, the story is just all over the place, and
I've never seen the Blu-ray release that had the additional, like the complete version where it had additional 26 minutes of material. So
same. I
don't know if it's actually.
I didn't know that was the thing. So
you guys are in for a treat then, because I do have Advent Children complete, and most of what it adds is fine, whatever. But it adds specifically some really cool stuff to the final battle of the movie, and like really, really, really neat stuff. And so yeah, you have that to look forward to for sure.
Nice. So June 8th, I'll be picking this up. I'll be curious to check it out.
I mean, it might technically be a prequel to remake, kinda, maybe.
With the way they're going, who knows, right?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know, is Zach still dead in the movie? Because otherwise, he might be SOL. I don't know what the hell to expect from Remake 2, and I love that. I'm very...
as Jenny G points out, it's a day before Intergrade, oddly enough. So there you go. Watch Advent Children, then get Intergrade.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I mean,
a really fun month for FF7 fans.
If people go out to pick up Intergrade, there'll be a Final Fantasy VII movie. There we go, being cynical again. All right,
yeah.
With that, I think we've covered all the news for today. And for this week, kind of. It's Friday. All right, so before we sign off, Clemps, my friend, thank you for staying so incredibly late for us. Where can our audience find you?
Yeah, hell yeah. You can find me on a bunch of different places. I frequent on Twitch every evening, apart from Tuesdays. That is just Clemps Twitch, all lowercase. That name might change at some point. You can also find me on YouTube. If you just type in Clemps on the search bar, you'll find my channel. I cover a bunch of JRPG stuff and Japanese games in general, and I'm trying to, like, mix things up a bit as well and do some weird stuff just to kind of test myself creatively. And I also have a Twitter, which you can go and follow me there. Other than that, yeah, those are kind of my haunts. You can find me there, and I'd appreciate seeing some of you there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
no worries. Yeah, I get
really
it.
sleepy.
It's fine.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You're obviously welcome on the show any old time.
Thank you.
As long as you know you're awake.
You're awake.
No, honestly, it's been a pleasure, and it's incredibly flattering that you'd even want me on in the first place. I do mean that. I do mean that. Like,
of course
from the
we
bottom
do.
of my heart. So thank you so much. I hope I've been okay.
Oh, you've been great. I've been wanting to get you on here since we basically started this thing. I had a list of like people I want to grab on. You were definitely on that list.
Oh,
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I can confirm that you were on the day one guest list.
Oh
man, that feels like forever ago.
So special.
But before we sign off, we have to give a special thanks to all of our patrons. All of you mean the world to us. But we have to give a special thank you to our patrons at the producer tier for helping to make this show happen. I know we say it every time, but without y'all, this show would not exist. We would not be able to do any of the stuff we're already doing for you, not to mention the things we plan on doing in the future. And we have to give an extra special, a massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier above. And I know y'all know where this is going. Those fine folks are Jared Edinger, Jonathan Belmare, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Floating Mew, Aiko Carroll, Christopher, The D-Pad. Wait, is this an old list?
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Shouldn't be.
How did you find it? How did you get an old list?
Is it at the bottom of the
using the
show
spread?
doc? Guillaume Monet?
Are you using our squad EP squad spread?
No. I'm tired.
That's why.
That's why. Jeez.
Yeah.
Why is there a list of EPs labeled EPs pasted at the bottom of our show doc?
Because that's the old stuff we used to use and we never got rid of it.
Oh, you guys, I'm deleting it now. I love you all.
Yeah,
Fair
do
enough.
that.
Fair enough.
That's why we
All right.
edit the VOD version. All right, let me find
Yes.
the... Why does Chrome...
Always use the EP squad spread.
Oh, that's why I got signed out of my Good Vibes
I hate
account
when
during
that
the
happens.
show.
That's happened to me so many
I
times.
hate when that shit happens. Yeah.
So I didn't have access
Freaking
to
Google.
our EP squad. All right, guys. I thought it was
Okay.
weird when I was reading names, and I'm like, some of these folks are no longer with us, which is unfortunate but unavoidable. All right,
It
all
happens.
right. I lost my composure. All right, folks. Here's the real EP squad. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm running off. I've got a sleep deficit of 1 day this week. That's my excuse. All right. An extra special thank you to our patrons at the producer tier and above, and those actual fine folks that are actually executive producers are Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Floating Mew, Aiko Carroll, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Nick Waterman, Kitty Kong Facts, Angel Martinez, Vidron Hotik, Macalau, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Shadow the Cat, Azran127, Kenrue09, Jake Pelka, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Charlie Bird, Lucky Wonderfish, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Douglas Chomix, Andrew Medeiros, Orem M, Phantom 23, Patrick Harrison, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzywig Hoyd, Flaming Highwayman, Sean Garrett, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kyed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Masterlings, Sean Davis, Deaneth, Jackson Jordan, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Ashish Joshi, Goron Amber, Straightlace, Hoobie, Wolf X Blake and Moon Macarons, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Synchrolord, Brainchild, my mom, hi mom, Scuff196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Wheezy Penguin, and Anthony Wilson Jr. Remember, you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where for as little as $5 a month, you can watch TNT live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and get exclusive access to our post show. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for more good times like these. And until next time, good night and good vibes. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.